The desert air base was silent, too silent for a place that housed some of the world's most powerful war machines. An AH-64 Apache, the pride of the battalion, sat wounded on the tarmac like a fallen warrior. Its engine had failed mid-mission, nearly costing the lives of 2 pilots. For 3 days, the top engineers, technicians, and aviation experts worked in shifts, tearing the aircraft apart piece by piece. Nothing worked, no system responded, no code made sense. It was as if the machine itself refused to wake up. Commander Harris stood beside the grounded helicopter, sweat running down his tired face. The higher command had given him an ultimatum: either get the Apache airborne in 24 hours or lose the mission. He looked at the dead engine again, and a name he hadn't spoken in years slipped from his lips. A name that carried stories, scars, and a reputation that soldiers whispered like a legend. If he says no, we lose everything, Harris thought. And so, with trembling fingers, he dialed the number of the one man the experts feared and respected in equal measure. A man who once repaired an Apache in the middle of a burning combat zone with nothing but a wrench and his instincts. A man known simply as the Ghost Mechanic. It took only 3 rings. "Who gave you this number, Harris?" The voice on the phone was sharp, firm, and carried a weight that could silence a room. "Sir, we need you. The Apache engine, no one can fix it. Not even HQ engineers. We're out of time." There was a long pause. Then a sigh. "Send me the coordinates." Before Harris could thank him, the call ended. But it was enough. The legend was coming. 3 hours later, the rhythmic growl of an old military jeep echoed across the base. Soldiers stopped what they were doing. Even the most hardened technicians straightened up as a man stepped out. Broad shoulders, weathered face, silver hair tied back loosely, and eyes that looked like they had seen every battlefield from the desert to the mountains. His name was veteran Chief Master Technician Roland Pierce, a man who had retired 5 years ago after surviving missions no one else could. "Where's the patient?" Pierce asked, slinging his tool bag over his shoulder. Harris walked him to the Apache, his voice low and tense. "Engine shut down mid-flight. Diagnostics show multiple failures. We've replaced everything: fuel nozzles, sensors, wiring, compressors. Nothing responds." Pierce placed a hand on the Apache's metal skin. His touch was calm, almost respectful. "Machines don't die without telling you why," he murmured. "You just have to know how to listen." He climbed into the engine bay, his movements smooth and precise despite his age. The younger mechanics watched him with awe as he worked without hesitation, pulling apart parts they had been scared to touch. Minutes turned into hours, sweat dripped from his forehead. His fingers were black with grease, but his eyes were sharp and focused like a surgeon's. At dusk, Pierce finally stepped back. "This isn't an engine failure," he said quietly. "This is sabotage." Murmurs erupted. Harris's eyes widened. "Sabotage? By who?" Pierce pointed at a small piece of melted wiring, barely visible. "Someone rerouted the thermal lines. They wanted the engine to overheat and die in the air." The weight of his words dropped like a bomb. Harris stepped closer. "Can you fix it, Chief?" Pierce looked at the stars for a moment, as if gathering the strength of the past. Then he nodded. "I didn't come back here to fail." And as night settled over the base, the legendary veteran went to war. Not with enemies, but with twisted metal, broken circuits, and the ghosts of old battles he thought he had left behind. By midnight, the air base was glowing with floodlights. Every mechanic, engineer, and soldier watched as Pierce worked with relentless intensity. He moved like a man fighting time itself. His hands were steady even when the pressure wasn't. Harris approached him cautiously. "How bad is it?" Pierce didn't look up. They used military-grade micro fuses to interrupt fuel flow gradually. This wasn't done by a rookie. Someone wanted this Apache out of commission. The commander swallowed. "Any chance we can get it operational?" Pierce finally looked at him. Tired eyes but filled with fire. "I can bring it back. But not by replacing parts. I have to rebuild the engine's heart from inside." The base held its breath as he opened the final panel. For a moment, everyone saw what made Roland Pierce a legend. The way he handled each component as if it were alive, the way he anticipated problems before they appeared, and the way he knew the Apache not as a machine but as a trusted companion. Hours later, the sun rose slowly over the desert horizon, bathing the base in gold. Pierce wiped the sweat from his forehead and closed the engine bay. "It's ready," he said softly. The pilots climbed into the cockpit. The ground crew stepped back. Everyone went silent. The starter motor whined. The rotors began to turn. For a terrifying second, nothing else happened. Then suddenly, the engine roared to life, loud and fierce, like a warrior awakening after a long sleep. The Apache lifted slightly from the ground, steady and strong. Cheers erupted across the base. Mechanics hugged each other. Pilots saluted. Harris exhaled for the first time in hours. Pierce simply watched, a small, humble smile on his face. Harris walked beside him. "We couldn't have done this without you. You saved the mission and maybe more." Pierce shook his head. "I just brought a soldier back home. Machines like this, they have a spirit. And today, this one fought to live." As the Apache soared into the sky for its final test flight, Pierce turned to leave. "Harris," he said, pausing, "find the one who tried to kill that bird. Because next time, the pilots won't get a second chance." And, just like that, the legendary veteran walked away, fading into the morning light, leaving behind a restored engine, a renewed base, and a reminder that real heroes don't need medals or applause. They just answer the call when they're needed most.